Today's sponsor of this week's episode of Still Untitled is Casper Mattresses, obsessively engineered American-made mattresses at a shockingly fair price. And now you can get $50 toward any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled, like the name of this podcast, and using the code UNTITLED. Listen, you spend a third of your life sleeping, so let's make sure you're doing it on a good mattress. Casper brings two comfy technologies together for better nights and brighter days: latex foam and memory foam. So they got the right amount of sink and the right amount of bounce no matter how you sleep. And they have a risk-free trial and return policy. Deliver straight to you. The mattress actually comes in a box and it breathes the air in, expands out, and you can try it for 100 days. And if you're not happy, they'll pick it back up. At the store, maybe you get a minute to try your mattress. With Casper, you actually get to sleep on it. It's $500 for a twin-size mattress and $950 for a king-size mattress, and it's a really good price point compared to other industry standards. Also, remember, you can get $50 off any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/untitled and using the offer code UNTITLED. Thank you, Casper, for sponsoring this week's episode of Still Untitled, and on with the show.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just got some texts.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam, and
I'm
now
Norm.
I'm here.
And we're all present.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
important to be present.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about is you were talking about the video of the guy who chose the superpower of Wolverine claws without regenerative healing.
Yeah.
Gotta choose one.
So
Such a bad idea.
one of my favorite X-Files episodes ever is the one where Mulder finds a genie who grants 3 wishes.
Oh.
Have you ever seen this
No.
one?
It's familiar, but I don't remember what happens.
So the episode starts with these idiots who find the genie. And one of them's like, I want to be invisible. And she's like, great. Boom, you're invisible. And he's wearing clothes. And he's
Yeah.
like, why aren't my clothes invisible? She's like, you didn't specify
Yeah.
that your clothes.
No.
So he takes off his clothes and she's like, I'm cold. And she's like, yeah, well, that's goes to the territory. And then he runs into traffic and gets hit by a car. Right? So there's this great scene where Scully is invited to do an autopsy on a body that's invisible. And she there's a table and there's a dent in the table, but she takes powder and it falls on a human form.
Wow.
It's
That is some
amazing.
amazing effects for like 1994
Yeah.
or 5 probably.
But so then the guy who died's best friend finds the genie and he says, I want to bring my friend back to life. And she's like, really? I'm okay.
That's the worst
So
idea.
she does. And he's like rotting
Uh-huh.
and yellow because of the powder that Scully put on him. And the guy's second wish, he says, I'd like him to talk. And the genie goes, okay, I normally never editorialize, but you really don't want him to talk. And he's like, no, I do. And she's like, I'm telling you, you have to trust me on this. You don't want him to talk. And he's like, I want him to talk. That's my second wish. And she goes, okay. And she snaps her fingers and the guy just starts screaming. And he's like, why is he screaming? And she's like, because he's rotting and he's dying and he's dead inside and it hurts. And so the dead guy just screams for the rest of
Oh
the...
my God, that's terrible. That's
Awesome.
That show. It's funny I watched some of those episodes because Kumail from Silicon Valley does an X-Files rewatch podcast. It's great, highly recommended. I think they're only watching good episodes,
Okay.
which with X-Files, X-Files was up
there
and
were
down.
some misses. Totally.
The funny thing, because that was one of the first shows with a continuity. It had a really long-running continuity
Yeah.
that turns out wasn't very good.
I love Krychek.
Oh, the characters were great,
Yeah.
but it never kind of went anywhere because it seemed like Lost, where they
It's a
kind of
lot
got
of
started and
spinning
then they were like,
right,
what
right.
the hell are we going to do with this? We got to just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Well, back then it was also 24 to 26 episodes a
right.
season. That's a lot of story
A
to
lot
tell.
to cover.
But the capsule episodes, especially the ones where they were like, well, we don't have any budget for this episode, so let's just make a cabin in the woods. And the thing that happens is that when it's dark, monsters come out or insects
Right,
come out that
right,
eat you or something like that. And Scully and Mulder are trapped usually with some crazy person in a little tiny room.
Yeah.
Are so good.
yeah.
Anyway.
I think my all-time favorite, and when Vince Gilligan visited us on the set, I talked specifically about this one, is one of the best episodes is the... I think it's the penultimate season, and it's each. Have we talked about this? Where
This is the one where
each cut is each span of the episode between commercial breaks is a single shot.
yes,
We talked
incredibly
about
high
this.
concept for yeah.
It's a wonderful one.
Mine is the Cerulean Blue episode,
Which
where
is-
it's the guy with the brain tumor, and he can convince people to do things just by saying things and repeating them. And the guy drives out into traffic, and
Yes.
and he ends up icing Mulder, trying to get Mulder to kill Scully, or Scully to kill Mulder. I can't remember which way it went, but so good.
Yeah.
So
And they
intense.
recently, for Halloween, they replayed the Mom Under the Bed episode.
House, I think, is what that one was called.
Most messed up. I mean, I've seen that one, and it will haunt your dreams.
Yeah, It's
I
good-
won't
good
say
TV
any more
show.
about the premise of it because it is effed up.
You know, that's a really interesting point. How do you describe something without actually spoiling it? And I know we do spoiler casts on this show a lot.
Yeah.
Now we all, not all of us have the same time, availability to watch all the same things. We try to do books, but we want to have a good conversation about it. So what I want to do this week is I want to talk about James Bond and Spectre.
Oh,
I know
which
the
you've seen.
which I've seen,
Which I have, neither of us
Neither
have.
of us.
neither of you
seen.
guys have seen. I'm going to try this, and I want to talk about spy movies in a broader sense because there have been a lot of spy movies this year. But can I talk about Spectre in a way to not talk about Spectre?
Did any of us see The Man from U.N.C.L.?
I never
No.
did see
Okay,
that. That was
neither-
the Guy
yeah.
Ritchie movie.
I was really excited about it from the trailer, and then didn't bother to go to the
The
theater.
reviews kind of trashed it.
Yeah.
That happens with. The Guy Ritchie
Did you
movies
see
sometimes.
Spectre? Or I mean, did you see the trailer for Spectre? You guys have seen the trailer?
Yeah, I've
seen the
watched
trailer,
all
yeah.
the trailers for Spectre.
Okay.
And I was very excited.
Yes. Here, let me think. I'm going to describe the movie I wanted to see,
Yes.
and then tell you at the end they did none of that.
Okay,
As a way
you're-
to review
so
the
you're
movie.
giving us the negative space review of Spectre.
So we're thinking that may
So-
I hazard a guess?
So
Here, go ahead.
instead of talking about what the movie is,
Right.
which would technically spoil the
Talk
movie,
about what it's not.
I want to talk about
Which
what
will
it's
spoil it a
not.
little
Which-
bit.
I just don't know how you make Spectre in a post Austin Powers world. Like, that's the problem with that kind of over the top supervillain.
Right, so
Like,
okay,
I'm gonna take
I'm
over
gonna
the
presume
world.
people
Right.
out there have seen at least the trailer for Spectre, which Christoph Waltz is in there. We assume he plays the villain.
He
Well,
has
we
to be
also had, we
Blomfeld,
had an
right?
we had an illegal international cabal in both the Last Mission Impossible film and in Quantum of Solace, the Bond film that
Yes.
everyone would like to forget.
It was bad.
The
It
one
was
during the
terrible.
writer's strike.
It was
Yeah.
terrible. But the idea of bringing Spectre in, I think it could. I was thinking that you're going to do stuff where you're going to tie in a lot of different pieces of Bond, and they talked about it as very much. We knew the Broccoli's got the rights to Spectre recently, and so this is wanting to tie in the whole series of films. And I saw it as an interesting introspection of Bond into himself is the way the trailers played a
Right,
lot of it.
they're some type of relationship or something. But Spectre is an organization because you're right. Quantum, there was already a secret society. There was a
Right.
great, for all that
the
movie's faults.
Ring thing, right?
The Ring. They
Yeah.
had the villain from the end of the first Casino Royale, Mr. White, which opened a great chase scene in Quantum.
Yep.
And they had the great opera scene where you have this cabal of the elite, the 1%, with their earbuds and Bond gets to listen in. Like, that sequence was great. And how do you kind of redo that and make the organization even more pervasive and powerful?
You hired Christoph Waltz.
And you hire Christoph as someone with huge presence and an eerie persona.
James.
And a exactly, he says. And
But I mean, the scene that the who's the villain in Skyfall? It was
Skyfall's Javier Bardem.
Javier
Javier,
Bardem.
yeah, he was also in the creepy supervillain oeuvre.
And
he was
and
really good.
Absolutely, almost over the top. But
Yeah.
with an actor like Bardem, he can actually take
Yeah.
that and make it both scary and weirdly funny at the same time.
Yeah.
So, do you remember in the last movie, Skyfall,
Yeah.
where the big reveal for Bardem's connection is that he was the abandoned agent,
Right.
Right, and that's why his
which
whole
was
thing,
also in Goldeneye. Just to
yes,
be clear,
right, and it was a personal
Right.
vendetta, and his story was supposed to, or Daniel Craig's story, because he is abandoned also. He's presumed dead in the beginning of the movie, and you should have seen Skyfall by now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow,
The-
that was a hard turn, Norm.
Bardem's character and his animosity toward Judi Dench,
Yeah.
is that this matronly character, the relationship was that she abandoned him and he tried to kill himself, and that's why he's disfigured.
Yeah.
I wanted so bad, and I think it's kind of understood that basically his death and his abandonment was what allowed James Bond to be James Bond. He was
That
the
was
previous 00.
his end was James Bond's origin story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I took.
And I
away
think
from
he
it.
assumed
That was
I
not
wanted.
something I've realized.
And I
Okay,
wanted
cool.
that maybe a little more explicitly stated.
Yeah,
Like maybe
yeah.
he was the 00.
It's a sibling rivalry thing.
and
kind of.
and so James Bond has like his own abandonment issues, and
How does this apply to Spectre?
so in Spectre they try to tie everything together.
Inspector, you said
In
Inspector.
Spectre, in Spectre,
That's like this is called the iPhone 6, the iPhone success.
or no, the iPhone sucks ass.
Success.
Success,
Success.
yeah.
Sorry.
I got my sucks ass in Bros Gold.
Anyway, sorry.
You've seen it from the trailers. The whole everything was tied together. Everything from Casino Royale.
I hate it when everything wraps up
and I
nicely.
don't like not wraps up, but it doesn't need to have that buildup. The
No.
thread you talked about
It
X
could just
Files.
be another threat that
it
Bond
could-
has to deal with.
And I think that's a big problem with today's blockbusters. Because they're spending 100 to 200 million
Well, that's
plus.
Damon Lindelof's quote. Yeah,
on
as
this
soon
movies.
as 200 million's on the line, the fate of the universe has to be in the balance.
Earth
on the
must
plot.
be in the balance.
Yeah.
But it's not only that, but it needs to feel like some event. It can't be they're making Bond movies every year, or every 2 years on the cheap, and then every 5 years there's an event. Every movie is
Yeah.
the culmination of something.
This is a video game problem too. I mean, video games have had this problem for I think longer than movies because in the video game you're always the silent protagonist who's saving the world, right?
Right.
'Cause they
And
need
it
to
turns
be-
out that gets boring as hell after a while.
Totally.
Can I tell you, speaking of it getting exhausting after a while, I love all the interviews that Daniel Craig's been doing. He totally gives no fucks right
Yeah.
now. And they're like, one, they said, you're going to do another Bond film. And he's got one more on his contract, apparently. I haven't read his contract, so I don't know. And he's just like, I want to do another Bond film like I'd like ground glass in my eyeballs. And he's totally unabashed about it. Then someone says, have you learned anything about the ladies from Mr. Bond? And Craig goes, you do realize James Bond's a misogynist, right?
Yeah.
It's like awesome. Daniel Craig's becoming my new. I mean, you can't imagine how tired he must be after 2 years of doing this fight scenes and sequences and hurting his knee, blowing out. I mean, you know,
That scene at the end of Casino Royale must have been really awful for him. Is all I can.
Totally.
Yeah.
We was talking about the torture scene. The rope. The rope torture.
sorry, that's in the middle.
Oh, sorry, my bad. The thing. This is like.
Scratching my balls. That is
line.
such a
Yeah.
great bit.
Oh yeah.
So
Sorry.
Casino Royale, I think we can contend in this current iteration of Bond, Daniel Craig iteration, which he's done 4 movies now. Casino Royale, I think, is still the best.
I agree.
He has the
I
most
agree.
fun with it.
Skyfall is a close second.
Oh, no, I don't think Skyfall is. I did not like Skyfall.
Oh, really?
So you like
particularly.
Quantum more than Skyfall?
I don't like Quantum at all. But I think like in the list of great Bond movies,
Well, I'm
I
saying
think
in-
Skyfall
in-
is very very near the top. Right? It's like it's right there with the Lazenby one, which is fabulous.
Right.
Her Majesty's Secret
Her
Service.
Majesty's Secret Service and like Thunderball, right? Those are
Yeah.
that's my list.
Not Never Say Never Again.
No, the real Bond movies only. Thank you.
Anyway,
I'm
not
so
taking the
bummed that this movie is
So-
that you're not excited about this movie.
No, I was such a disappointment. It was boring. It was Bond formula, and there is something to say about Bond formula. But what Casino Royale did was take Bond formula and really modernize it and take him out of the Bond comfort zone. Get him dirty, get him gritty. And yes,
totally.
that's all there.
From the opening sequence on in, and I will also say it's amazing to me how much I love Casino Royale, given that it's got the dumbest poker game in all of movie
Oh
history.
my god, it is such a dumb.
My
poker
plan
game.
is to play the man, and by playing the man, I mean I'm going to wait until everyone has an absolutely amazing hand, except mine is a little better, and then they're all going to lose their money to me. That's my plan. How does that
That's not
sound?
how you play poker.
That sounds really terrible. You're okay,
You gotta wait
So-
for
and yet I don't care.
He
I
was
love every
trusting
minute
the
of it.
rest of it's
narrative,
good.
trusting the power of the narrative to make it his way.
Totally.
To make the situations
very
happen.
very red shirts.
My
of you.
plan is to have the screenwriters give everyone a slightly worse hand than
Yeah.
me.
So when I heard it was Spectre, I was hoping it was going to be. I was hoping Spectre would be a faceless, terrifying force of
Moriarty
chaos.
type of-
Chaos. Like Moriarty, or rip it from the headlines and look at what's happening in like it needs to be something that's truly horrifying if you're going to invoke Spectre.
Right.
And
right.
It
what
can't
they-
be we're gonna steal a jet and sink it in the North Sea and use that to take over the world,
Well,
right?
what they do steal from the
what was that?
headlines.
I think that's Thunderball. I can't
Oh,
remember.
okay.
Yeah.
boring. I mean, again, I don't want to go into
Oh,
spoilers
Norm,
because I
I'm
want to talk
so
about what
sad
movie is
about
not.
this.
Here's what the missed opportunity I thought was, and what I wanted to see.
Okay.
And if you're talking about the studio, I can understand the studio wants to make money. I understand people want big event movies. I understand studios want build universes. Marvel, right? Marvel has their universe of movies.
Yep.
Sony wants to do like their big universe of Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. If you want to turn the James Bond franchise and give it some legs and do something interesting, and also address the claims of like James Bond not being diverse enough and maybe getting new actors, make it about the 00 agents.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's something we haven't seen a lot of.
Not a lot of and we talk about in Her Majesty's Secret Service. One of the most awesome scenes in that movie is when all the 00 agents are sitting on their tall chairs in the beautiful room around and like give them. And they all, you imagine, like just like Ghost Protocol, imagine like, wow, it's not just James Bond.
Right.
He has
there's
he's
a whole
among
bunch.
maybe a whole a limited selection of 10 ultra uber agents.
Yeah.
Tell their stories.
Yeah.
Or
let them help,
Yeah.
have him go to them for help.
or build a thing that you need 4 of them to complete instead of just like, what's the threat that's so powerful that you need multiple 00s working together?
If you're Spectre and that's 8 legs of an octopus, hey, you can have 9 00s fight that.
What does Felix show up?
No.
Felix was in Casino Royale, wasn't he?
He was in Casino
Spectre,
Royale
yeah.
and
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, he doesn't. James Bond, has he never visited America in the recent movies? He's never.
Well, no, he's in
He's
Miami.
never in America?
Think about that.
I hadn't
It's
thought
in the
about that.
where's the poker game? Isn't he in Miami or something?
No,
it's before the poker game.
It's the Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
like the
poker games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be clear,
Montenegro.
the American James Bonds have traditionally been among the crappiest. The one with Jackie Gleason as the sheriff from Smokey and the Bandit.
Right,
it seemed
right.
like that was a real low
Live and Let
point.
Die.
Live and Let Die.
James
yeah.
Bond is
It's
a
Jane
globe-
Seymour, right?
a globe-trotting movie,
Yaphet
franchise.
Yeah.
Right.
But he never. There's no reason for him to visit America.
It
No.
didn't occur to me that they didn't film any of it.
Well, they
in
don't.
America.
But
That's right.
British spies don't work on American soil. That's the rule. It's part of the friendly agreement.
I'm so sad. It's disappointing. I'm gonna see it because you and I have disagreed vigorously on many
Yes.
movies. So I'm hoping
Norm
you're wrong.
frequently has bad opinions.
He does have bad.
Yeah.
Hey, I love and another reason I'm disappointed is because the last Mission Impossible is so good.
The Last Mission Impossible is
Rogue Nation
fantastic.
is so good.
It's great. Oh, you're in for a treat.
Oh my goodness!
excited.
And it's a movie that has fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. Tom Cruise is having fun. The director's having fun. The writer-director, Christopher McQuarrie, is having fun. Everyone is having fun.
Yep.
And no one is having fun in Spectre.
If you go back to Casino Royale, the thing that I liked about it is just like he's a misogynist and he's horrible, just like he kind of always has been. But it acknowledges it in a way that makes it okay. I don't think that flies anymore.
Oh,
Right?
right. So another thing that Craig said in one of the interviews, they were like, how was it working with Monica Bellucci? How was it having an older actress be in the movie? And Craig goes, you know that she's my age, right?
Yeah.
So it's the first time Bond's hooked up with an age-appropriate person
Yeah.
in a long time. It's just absolutely that needs to be said. I'm glad he's been saying.
Can you fix this? How do you fix Bond?
How do you fix Bond?
yeah, good question.
I mean, you can cast a James Bond could be a woman. James is a woman's
James
name
Bond.
now.
I also love the idea of Idris Elba as Bond. That's been pitched by the
I think
internet
that
a lot.
window's that's
See,
like that window's closed.
I think it's okay for Bond as a character to be outdated, and to.
But you
him
have to
be
acknowledge
him,
that. That's true.
Be true to himself, but be an outdated character and surround him with the context of like Idris Elba as a 00 agent, as 005, 006.
And now-
And he's like, okay, Gramps, you're the old racist guy.
I
Yeah.
will also say that the Bond franchise has been very good at reinventing itself. After Austin Powers, the Daniel Craig reboot, phenomenal. Quantum of Solace was terrible.
Writer's strike
Skyfall
problem.
feels like a 2-hour apology for Quantum of Solace, and it's terrific.
It's better than Quantum of Solace.
It's
Agreed.
a lot better.
Yes.
And so if this one was disappointing, I have no doubt that they will respond and take some of the criticism on the chin and do something about it. Because it seems right now, lately, it's been a very responsive franchise.
It's also a movie series that in the
you don't
history.
see a lot of Wolverine
I
gesturing.
just what do you? Hey, could you scratch my back?
Could somebody throw me a banana?
pet peeves of Wolverine claws. You have to have your fist closed.
It's true.
That sucks.
You can't
Yeah.
here, can I have that candy?
Well, but
Which
on
is
the
how someone with claws would.
they
Yeah.
came
Is
out
there-
of the top in the cartoon.
What?
They didn't come out between his knuckles in the cartoon. They came out of the top of his hand in the cartoon.
Well, that just
They were
doesn't work.
thinner, whippier. It was a little bit of a lighter blade. You know, a little more.
Could be.
Bond is a
Yeah.
franchise
Sorry.
that people expect reboots. They expect new actors to come in.
Yes.
And that's okay. We can complain about, the rebooting Spider-Man again. oh, they're going to reboot this again.
Well,
Bond, that's part of the story.
But they're rebooting them so fast.
Yeah,
That's
the
your-
blood
that's-
wasn't even dry on Tobey Maguire before
No.
they brought out that Andrew kid.
No, I know, and I haven't watched any of those. I've heard they're terrible.
They were better than I was expecting, but that is not a. I'm not.
That
That is not. This statement is not an endorsement.
That is the very definition of shade.
Yeah.
I
Right there.
Yeah. I think on that note, anything else we want to talk
What-
smack
Spy
about?
movies, spy movies hold a very important place in my makeup. The very first prop I ever built, and I've talked about this, was a James Bond Mission Impossible type briefcase with a bomb detonator built into it. That type of adventure of the secretive, lonely agent in the middle of nowhere and all the machinations. Actually,
Exotic
it's a
places.
terrific spy movie. Spy Game with Brad Pitt and Robert Redford.
That movie is wonderful.
Terrific.
Highly-
really,
yeah.
really fun, really wonderful. Some great reveals, amazing performances.
Tinker Tailor, Soldier
Tinker
Spy.
Tailor,
Tinker
Soldier
Tailor's
Spy, both the
so
television series on the BBC and the Gary Oldman reboot,
But
both fantastic.
the movie that is a movie that is really rewards multiple viewings too.
Oh, does it really?
There's
Okay.
so much to unwrap in there when you start thinking about it.
Benedict Cumberbatch in his first big breakout role. I mean, he'd had some small ones before that, but that was his.
Pre-Sherlock, around
Yeah.
the same time, yeah. I think there's definitely there's the fantasy of the world traveler, the loner, the world of espionage.
Yeah.
Politics is always interesting.
Well, let me tell you a story. Just to finish this, I'll finish with a story from an actual spy I met who did a couple of, I think, 3 tours with the CIA. And this spy's spouse also worked in the CIA. Now, I was asking this person about what's in a go bag, because I always ask that of anybody I meet, right? And they said there may be things in the go bag that aren't civilian knowledge, in which case they can't tell me about them. However, broadly speaking, what's in a go bag is whatever you need to get from wherever you are to wherever in the world you're needed within 36 hours.
So this isn't your bug out bag. This isn't your get the hell out of Russia to someplace safe.
You're holding a bag, and they tell you where you're supposed to go, and that bag has everything you need to get there, all the money, all the clothing, whatever. And I said, is there weaponry in the bag? And I said, no, you don't get the weaponry until you arrive on site, and then you hand over your true name, your passport, and they give you your new identity. So this person was telling me that they were stationed in a foreign country. Their spouse knew that they were in this country, but then there was an attack in one of the hotels in this country, and several Americans were killed. Now the spouse, even though they work for the CIA, they
doesn't know the identity.
They don't know whether their spouse is one of the people that was killed, and they're in this foreign country in which the person I was talking to, they couldn't call out.
Yeah.
All the foreign communications are monitored, so they absolutely for 2 weeks couldn't alert their spouse that they were okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they said they went through that 2 or 3 times in the time that they worked for the CIA, and that is a reality of what you'd call statecraft that I find I would not be suited for that. I would not do that very well at all. It is way too stressful.
The psychology of, I mean, it's why they have to be loners in popular media. That's why they're always loners. Like in Casino Royale, Vesper Lynd says, MI6 takes those orphans, troubled orphans, turn them into killers.
Well, that was the situation. What is it? It's one of the Mission Impossible movies. I think it's 3 maybe, where he meets the girl, and then in the next movie he basically ends the marriage because he knows that it's gonna he can't be married and do that job. Ethan Hunt can't be Ethan Hunt and be married. And
I know,
have a
it's
family.
heartbreaking, isn't it?
And it was the most brutal part of that entire series, at least for the 4 that I've seen.
That's the Kerry Russell film.
Yeah, it's the 3rd one. It's the J.J. Abrams one.
Right,
Bring it
the
all
one
back
with,
around
Philip
to
Seymour Hoffman.
Oh,
He's terrifying.
so good.
It's
Is the villain not scary in
Christoph
Spectre?
Waltz is underused. I wish he was to reframe it, to not spoil it. I wish he was used so much. I wish he was perfectly used.
I wish
he
you
is
would use
not.
more James.
So give me a 1-sentence capsule of the movie you wanted to see.
I wanted to see if based on the trailer. So watch a trailer, and a lot of times you can watch a trailer and imagine the movie you want to see.
Right, yeah,
and
totally.
not get. So from watching the trailer, I wanted to see a movie where James Bond was actually vulnerable and afraid for half the movie.
Actually, even more than that, right? Because what the trailer promises is that whoever this is has been 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of Bond for his whole life.
Yeah.
And so you realize, I was thinking, the Act 3 transition is Bond realizing long before the audience that he needs to jump a step ahead and doing something so radical to make that jump that when you finally realize what he's done to lure the villain closer, you're blown away by how smart.
So hold on, does that mean that
is that so hard?
It's that so hard for maybe and we're giving you the out right now. Hey, how does a loner surprise someone who's been taunting him his whole life?
Secret family?
Don't be a loner.
Does that mean that
right?
Christoph Waltz killed Bond's parents?
Batman's parents, it turns out.
Yes,
Bond's
that's
really
right.
upset about
There
that.
you go. I can see how that would be a
Yes,
bummer.
the pearls falling on the street.
Yeah,
Bond.
have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
God, I hate that line.
Really?
I always say that to all my
I'm not a fan of the Burton Batman.
Batman.
The second one is great.
Second one's amazing.
Batman
Michelle
Returns
Pfeiffer
is brilliant.
like that in Fabulous Baker Boys.
Yeah.
It's real high.
I just watched Fabulous Baker Boys
How
about
is that
a year
aged?
ago. Fantastically.
Good. That makes me happy.
Brilliant. In fact, it's darker than most people would make a movie these days. Her weird, difficult relationship with Jeff Bridges throughout that film is really kind of upsetting.
That's an early like, Jeff Bridges, there's something going on here that you maybe didn't think about. Who directed that? It was nominated for Oscars and everything, that movie.
Fabulous Baker Boys. Oh God, I can't remember. Oh, if only the internet were in my pocket.
Only we had a way to tell these things.
Don't make movies for checkboxes. I understand there's a history to the franchise, but don't make a movie where you're just checking off boxes because
And
that's
now
what people
it's
expect.
Norm's exhortation corner.
Norm's moment.
No,
It was
a little moment with Norm.
written by
Oh, that was me.
Steve
shuffling.
Kloves. Directed and written by Steve Kloves.
Steve Kloves. What else did Steve Kloves do?
I'm clicking on that link right now.
Come on, Will.
Harry Potter, The Amazing Spider-Man,
Oh.
as a screenwriter.
A screenwrter.
And he's renowned for adaptations of novels.
Renowned.
Renowned? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's apropos.
Oh boy.
We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Au revoir.
Hey, Adam's on tour right now.
Oh,
I am
right.
on tour right now.
Oh.
Yes, if you would like to come out and see me and Jamie's last tour, go to mythbusterstour.com and get your tickets. They are probably available. I don't know, but we're coming to your town. We're doing 32 cities in 35 days, all the way up through December 19th. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to head out. I haven't left yet, but in reality, when this airs, I will be out in the middle of the country.
You'll be
bus
getting
do you have?
your new IDs and your new passports
Yeah.
at every
Yes,
location.
exactly. I'm handing over my true name, and I'm hitting the road.
You write in Lars Ulrich's bus this year or something? You don't know
I have
yet?
no idea. I haven't seen the bus yet. No.
Oh,
I see it on Thursday in New Orleans.
cool.
Nolans.
Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Every time you get those out, I can't help but think of the guys who asked for any superpower they could have, and they picked Wolverine claws, but not regenerative healing. Such a good video. I can't control them.
Okay, start, because I got something funny to talk about.